So we have seen SQL LDR. Okay, SQL LDR is a utility, right? Right. It's not an utility file. It's a utility for fast loading of data. Fast loading of data into Oracle tables. Okay, we have seen that one. So it needs control file and data file. Control file and data files as input. Okay, input for loading the data, and it produces bad file, log file, discard file. So these are the three files it produces. Produces the bad file, it produces the log file, and it produces the discard file. So these are the input files. So control file and data files are inputs, and then the bad file, log file, and discard file as a output. Okay, so this is the data, actual data we are going to load into this table. This is the actual data what we are going to load into table based on the instructions in this control file. So basically the control file is going to store basically the control information. Okay, so what is our responsibility? Our responsibility is to load the data into table. Okay, so I have a data in a flat file. For example, I have a data in a flat file. What type of files it is? Let's see, I have some sample files which I'll share to everyone. See, this is my data. Is this a fixed width file or it is a delimited file? Is it a fixed width file or it is a delimited file? What type of file it is? It's a fixed width file because each record has the same number of characters and there is no delimited. So the fields are not separated by a certain character. Fields are not separated by a certain character. So that's why it is a delimited file. Okay, now let's see. This is the sample file I want to load, and I have another files. This is another sample file I have a load. Okay, this is the another sample file I want to load, and this is another sample file I want to load the data. So the data looks like this. Okay, this is a DEPT one. So this is a file with the delimiter. I have, see, this is the difference of this one. So this is a field separated by comma. Okay, here there is no field separator. So each field has a certain length. Each character has a certain length. That's why. So we have two types of the file. So this based on this data file. So what is our responsibility? Based on data file definitions, so we will write control file. Based on the data file, we will write a control file. Then once the control file is ready, so then we will invoke SQL LDR from command line. SQL LDR from command line. So the SQL LDR from command line. So no need to connect. What is the syntax for connecting to the SQL loader? Invoking the SQL loader syntax. In the last class we have seen that definition. Okay, so this is the user ID, username and password what we are connecting to database, and this is the control file path, and this is a data file path, and this is the log file. So the output log file, and this is the discard file, bad file, and the direct is equal to true. What is the use of direct is equal to true? What is the use of direct is equal to true? What is the significance of direct is equal to true? So the direct load. So other option is if we don't specify the direct load, it loads the data in the conventional way. Conventional load and direct load. Skip is equal to n. Skipping means I want to load only record starting from third. That means I want to skip first two rows. Okay, so this is the syntax. Okay, let's see. I created some tables. So DEPT underscore SQL LDR. I created some tables. If you want, I can share I'll share all these tables. See, I created a select start from. I created the sample table for this class and DEPT underscore SQL LDR. This is my table. Okay, so this is my table. So I want to load the data into this table from this file. I want to load the data, okay, from this file dept.txt file. I want to load into this table. Okay, so what are the four modes for writing the data? So one thing is to insert the data and then append and then replace and then truncate. These are the four modes. We have seen this in the last class. Four modes of control file. See here, append mode, replace mode, insert mode and truncate mode. Okay, now let's see. I need to write a control file for this loading the data. See here. So this is the table. I want to load the data. Now I want to write a control file for this one. Okay, so the load data, simple. So we have seen the syntax like this. The syntax is the load data into table name. So the when condition is optional. I want to load only specific and columns, column 1, column 2 and column 3. Let's see. So the infile star means we are specifying the data in a control file itself. Okay. So the load data into table name dept underscore SQL LDR. Okay. Columns, simple one. I'm not specifying anything. So the department number, dname, comma, location. So now what is the field separator? Fields separated by comma. Fields are separated by comma. Load data into department table. This is the simple control file without any data types and everything. The simple control file. Okay, so now let's see. dept SQL LDR dot txt, or you can save with SQL LDR dot ctl. So that is the name I'm giving, control file syntax. Okay, I have already created some demo examples that I'll see explain one by one. Okay, so now this is the control file I created. Let's see. So what is the control file I have? Okay, this is the control file. So the load data into department underscore SQL LDR table and fields separated by comma. That means each record, each field. So what is the data file we have? This is the data file and this is the SQL loader. So now I need to invoke this command from my command prompt. So go to your command prompt. Okay. So now SQL LDR. So user ID is equal to scott/tiger. That is the data, scott/tiger. This is your database name, ORCL. On your databases, give XE because that is your database name, XE. So control is equal to location of the control file. So what is the location of this control file? dept underscore SQL LDR dot ctl. Data is equal to, where is the dept.txt? The dept.txt is here. The data file is in the different location. files dept.txt log is equal to log file location. dept_log.txt log file and bad is equal to /dept_bad.txt. That's it. Okay. I'm not giving the discard file and I'm not giving anything. Unable to open the cdept classes SQL dot dept SQL LDR.ctl. Let's see the file is there or not. So classes is there, dept. Okay, so the file name is DTP. I saved with DTP. Insert data into table. My syntax mistake. Insert into table. Sorry, that's the syntax mistake. Insert into table name. I saved it, right? Fields separated. Sorry, spelling mistakes. What is my fields terminated? See, 4 records got loaded. So if you go to here, the log file, what is the log file? dept.log. If you open this, okay, the total number of records read is 4. So I have 4 records in my table. 1, 2, 3, 4 records in my table. Okay, so the total records rejected is 1. So that means 1 record got rejected. Okay, see here. Total records rejected is 1. That means 1 record is failed. How many? 3 records successfully loaded. 1 row not loaded due to data errors. What is the error? So you will see the record number 1 rejected because of this reason. Because this heading not loaded. Okay, if you open the bad file, dept_bad, so you will see the first record written to bad file, because how it is loaded. See here, the fields terminated by comma. So that means fields terminated by comma. So each fields terminated by comma. See, one department number is one field, and dname is one field, and location is one field. So 3 fields. Yes. Okay, department number, department name, and location. So here from this file, the first one goes to department number, and second one goes to department name, and third one goes to and location. Okay, and during executing this command, so the user ID Scott Tiger control file. So the path of your control file and data is equal to the data path, and the log is equal to log file and bad file. So the bad file means the records which got error out. So how can I see what is the record? If you open the log file, it says that. So how many records? 3 records successfully loaded, 1 record failed. What is the failed reason? If you see here, record number 1 errored. So the record number 1 errored means this is the dept.txt. That is the first record got errored out. Anybody have any doubts, please? Anybody have any doubts, please? Please let me know. The simple, we need to write a control file. Yes. So how I am writing a control file? Control file is writing based on the data file. So 3, what is the field here? Department number. Field separated by comma. What are the department number field? Department number, name field and location field. I have a 3 fields. That's it. 3 fields and each field terminated by comma. Okay. Now the simple control file without any additional operations. Now I'm truncating the data. If you want to insert the data into table, insert into table. So this table should be empty. If you want to use the SQL loader with into option, okay. If you want to use the SQL loader with insert operation, the data should be empty. Data into table using the SQL loader. Target table should be empty. If you want to load the data into table using the SQL loader, the target table should be empty. So we need to make sure target table is empty. So if you want to append, this rule is not required because append means appending the data. We are going to append the data. Okay, so now let's see. I'm modifying this table. Okay, let's truncate the data from this table. SQL LDR, I'm truncating the data. Yes, table truncated. I want to load the data. Okay, so the same control file, but I have another record. 35, 35. So this is the data. I don't have third field. Third field is null. Let's see. I'm using skip is equal to 1. Skip is equal to 1. The skip is equal to 1 means it won't produce any bad and the log. I'm deleting the log files. Okay, so now let's see. I'm running with skip is equal to 1. Skip is equal to 1 means it loads the data starting from second record. So logical record count 4. So here 3 records loaded, 1 record failed. Let's see. So the 2 records failed. One is okay. So now see here total 3 records loaded successfully. 1 row not loaded due to data errors. What row? Record number 4 rejected. Okay. So fourth record failed. What is the fourth record? This is the fourth record. So starting from 1, 2, 3, fourth record. Fourth record is failed because I want to load location as a null, but the SQL loader did not recognize this null and not loaded the record. Everybody is clear. So the skipping, because of that skip option, it's not counted this row to load. If you see the bad file, yes, see the fourth row is not at all considered for this load. This bad file is loaded with the heading. Okay, this fourth row is not at all considered to load because I have some nulls. What I have to do? Some fields can be null, right? Okay, so what we have to do is we have to use trailing null calls. Trailing null columns. We have to use a keyword called trailing null calls. See, we have to use trailing null calls. Then it considers that as a record. Truncate the table again. I'm truncating the table. Table truncated. Let's delete these 2 files. See, 4 records. It's loaded. Let's see how many records it is loaded and then see the data. See, this time 4 records loaded with one field as a null. 4 records loaded with one field as a null. The simple one. So control file write and then load the data. Everybody is clear? Everybody is clear, please? Anybody? The only thing is, okay. So now let's see what is the difference between what is the use of this fields terminated by. Fields terminated is the field separator. So that is the how do you identify the each field, that is the fields terminated by. What is the use of trailing null columns? Trailing null columns means, okay, because if we don't have any value in a particular field, I don't want to skip that record. If we don't have any value, so then I don't want to skip that record. That's why we need to use trailing null columns. Trailing null columns can be used to load the data. Okay, so let's see. So this is the way we have to load data into table from a control file. So write a control file and load the data. Okay, so now let's see. Instead of here, I'll explain some of the examples what I have written here. Okay, let's see here. I'll explain one by one control file samples here. I'll share all this information to everyone. Okay, so please practice all this today. Now let's see what is the use of each one. Okay, so this is the load data. Loading data. What is the use of in file star? If it is in file star, that means we are specifying data in the control file itself. Data in control file itself. Sometimes we have to load the data in the control file. So where do you specify the control file? So the control file contains the data with the section of begin data section. Begin data section. So the begin data section. What is the use of begin data section? So the begin data section is to specify a data, but it is not a good idea. Never ever hard code the data in a control file. Okay, so then the in file specifies the data in the control file. So this is the table we are loading. So this is the fields terminated by. What is the use of optionally enclosed by double quotes? See here, you see this data. So double quotes. Consider that whatever you have between the double quotes as a field. Okay, let's see. Let's execute this without double quotes first. Okay, see here. Now I have a 4. So how many fields it is? So how the Oracle understand? Oracle is going to understand this 4 as 4 fields or 3 fields. How the Oracle is going to understand this line? See, based on these fields terminated by comma, Oracle considers this as a 4 fields. But I want to consider the last 2 as a single field. That's why we need to specify fields enclosed by, optionally enclosed by double quotes. That means whatever you have between the double quotes, it considers it as the single field. Whatever you have between the double quotes, it considers it as the single field. That is the use of optionally enclosed by colon, double quotes. Okay, it consider this as single field. Department number, department name and location, and begin data. This is the data. Okay. Anybody have any issues, please, in this example? Please let me know. You need to practice it. Okay. Now let's see the second example. Second demo example. Okay, so now the load data in file. So in file path. So here I specify the star. Star means that is the data we are specifying in the begin data section. Okay, this is not good idea. We are restricting the data in the control file. That's not a good idea. What is the best idea? The first example is our best idea. So we need to separate control file and the data file separately. We don't want to mix the control file and data file together. Okay, so now this is the location of a data file. This is the location of your data file. Okay, so now this is fixed width file. So the demo2.data, this is the fixed width file. How I am specifying, how I am considering it is a fixed width or delimited? Because each record have the common endpoint. Each record has a same length of characters. Each record has a same length of characters. That's why it is a fixed width file. So if you are loading the fixed width file into this table, we need to specify the position. Position 1 to 4. Let's see the data. So 1 to 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. First 4 is the employee number, and 6 to 15. 6 to 15. So I'm removing fifth character. I'm not considering the fifth character. So I'm ignoring the fifth character. 6, 7, 6 to 15. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So again, I'm leaving this character empty. So from here to here, I'm loading into table as a, I'm considering it as a name. So then I'm using 17 to 25 as a job, 27 to 30, and 39 to 32 to 39, and 41 to 48, 50 to 51. So fixed width, that means fixed width positions is based on the position. Okay, so now here I specified the integer. Integer is a number type, and integer and a character and a decimal. Because SQL loader data types and Oracle data types are different. The SQL loader accepts integer character date. Integer character date. SQL loader accepts integer character date. For integer and here we need to specify, that is the syntactical definition. So we need to specify the external keyword for loading SQL loader data. For loading SQL loader into integer column, we need to explicitly specify the external keyword. External keyword is only required for integers and the decimal values. Everybody is a clear place? Everybody is a clear? So in this one, in the fixed width one, fields terminated by, okay, and then trailing null columns are not required, because here we are loading the data based on positions. Based on positions we are loading data. Now third example. Yeah, let's see this one. So here it is a append mode. I'm loading the data into append mode. The same thing. Let's see. Let's execute this example. In file star, that is the starring data. This is the data we have. Okay, let's execute this in a table. So the same thing. So fields terminated by comma, optionally enclosed by this one. So the hire date, I'm specifying the format. Okay, so hire date, I specified a format. Okay, everybody. So the format, what I want to load it. I'm loading this data into table. I saved with this emp SQL loader.ctl. emp underscore SQL LDR is my this bad file. So the log file is emp underscore SQL LDR underscore log, and data file is not required because I have the data in the control file itself. emp underscore sp. See, 6 records loaded. Okay, so record count loaded. Yes, see here. So the 6 rows successfully loaded. All 6 rows got. So the first record skipped because I specified the skip is equal to 1. If you see the data, where is emp SQL LDR? Yes, if you see the data, see here. The king and department number 10, 10, 10, 10. And let's see the last 3 columns. Let's see the last 3 columns. 10, 102 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so now this is the sequence number I am giving. How did I specify the sequence number? The sequence number I specified with see, this is the column name with the help of sequence of max comma 1. So what is the meaning of sequence of max comma 1? Sequence of max comma 1 means it takes the previous maximum value in that column and adds 1. It takes the previous maximum column and then what? Sequence. So the initially first 0 plus 1, 1 plus 2, 1 plus 1, 2. Okay, 2 plus 1, 3, 3 plus 1, 4, 4 plus 1, 5, 5 plus 1, 6. Say this is the sequence number I populated. So that is the sequence number. Okay, everybody. Everybody, is it clear? And okay, so now let's see here. Okay, now so the character, department number and the project number is combinedly created with colon 10 colon 101, 10 colon 102. And how I separated here is based on this particular column, department number character terminated by fields colon. So I specified this colon because 10, see here, department number in my data file, department number and project number separated by colon. That's why these two treated separately. That's a very important thing whenever you have. So generally this is very rare case. That's why I'm giving an example. Okay, so the department number and character terminated by colon. See, the first 10 it goes to department number and this 101, 102, 102 and it goes to project number field. Everybody is clear? Please let me know. Please. Anybody have any doubts, please? Any others, please? Yes. Okay, now let's see. Okay, one more example. Okay, let's see here. So now this is the data I'm loading. Okay, but don't use this option. Always use with the first option. Put it in a separately in a separate data file. Okay. Now fixed width file. Fixed width file. And what null if employee number is equal to blanks. What is the meaning of this one? Null if employee number is equal to blank. That means in this position 1 to 4, if the employee number is blank, use null. Okay, what is the meaning of null if employee number is equal to blanks? This means, okay, in this position of every row, if any one record has employee number as a blank, null is different and blank is different. Okay, null is different and blank is different. Okay, if the employee number is blank, then use null. That is the meaning of this null if employee number is equal to blanks. Null if employee number is equal to blank. Everybody is it clear? The use of null if employee number is equal to blank. Everybody is it clear, please? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. So now let's see. Now I'm using some functions in the data load. Okay. Now let's see this one. In file star. Okay. In file star. So I'm loading the data into function demo. The position 1 to 7 is the last name and position 8 to 15 is my first name. See here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the first 7 is last name, and from here 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, I have some characters here. This one up to here. Okay, so then I want to load the data into uppercase. In my data file, I have a lowercase, but I want to load into uppercase, the simple one. So here we can use the functions upper, last name, lower, and last name functions can be used. So we can use all SQL functions, maximum or minimum, so not maximum, conversion functions like a substring or convert to char or to date. Any function can be used in your the SQL loader. Not only the SQL loader not only loads the data, we can apply some basic conversions also. See here, I want to load the data into uppercase. I want to load the data into lowercase. So as I want to load into the lowercase, just simply use the lower function. Lower function of first name, upper function of first name. Clear everybody? Yes or no, please? Please let me know. So the simple, here you can use the functions, the simple functions. Say one thing I'm telling you, writing SQL loader control file is completely practice. Completely practice only, because there is no fixed syntax. Here I have written almost possible cases, but in the real time you might have some different case. Okay, so now loading data into multiple tables. This is the control file for loading data into multiple files with multiple files and multiple tables. See here, I have data in 2 files. So not only single file. So from the multiple files, data can be loaded into single table. Multiple files. See here, I have a demo A and demo 9b.dat in the append mode into table. This table. So when the data I'm loading, when project number is equal to 101. Okay, so when project number is equal to 202, I'm loading into another table. So when project number is not equal to 101 and not is equal to 202, I'm loading into this another table. Okay, see here. So loading data into multiple tables based on this when condition. Based on this when condition. See here, when this is not equal to this one and this is equal to this one, I'm loading into these tables. 3 different tables and the data from 2 files. Okay, everybody. Everybody is clear? Just please practice. Please practice. I will provide you all this data and then all the control files to everyone at the end of the class. Please practice it. If you have any issues, and let me know. Now, see, these are the some basic examples of this control file. Everybody is clear? Say, I'm not saying this is 100%, but this is the basic information required for loading into the tables. The one thing is control file and the data file. That's only 2. So we are not responsible for the data file because the data file is not in our hand. We will get the data from some other system, some other project. We will get the data. So we are loading data into table using a SQL loader. SQL loader is the fast load. Okay, everybody. Please let me know. Everybody is clear, please. Yes, sir. Okay, so now we are coming back to the SQL part. Okay. Now, What are the different types of it? So we are coming back to SQL again. So we completed the PL SQL. I'm saying it's 90% only. Not why I'm saying it 10% is we have so many new features. Whatever I clarified, whatever I discussed in the classes is day-to-day activity PL SQL concepts. Okay, now we are going to come back with the SQL. So what are different types of SQL commands we have? Different types of SQL commands. Anybody? What are different types of SQL commands? What are different types of SQL commands? So DDL and DML and TCL and DCL and select. Okay, now very good. Okay, so the select is for to retrieve data. 1 second. Select is for retrieving data from tables. Okay, now so the DTL is the data control. We can control privileges associated to users, so using grant and revoke. And TCL is the transaction control, commit and rollback. That's for saving the changes or not, if you want to issue a commit or not. And the DML is data manipulation operation, insert, update, delete and merge statement. Merge, insert all. That's a multi-table insert. So the DDL is for creating the database objects like a tables, views and everything is for creating. Okay, so now what is the difference between DDL and DML? What is the difference between DDL and DML? What is the difference between DDL and DML? DDL and DML. So the DDL is auto commit on and DML is auto commit off. DDL is auto commit on. That means whenever you create a table, it commits on. And DML is auto commit off. That's the one. Okay, so now we are going to see the DDL. We are going to start DDL commands. So the DDL commands is for creating database objects. Anything related to a database object is DDL commands is for creating database objects. Is for creating database objects. We can create, then we can alter or modify database objects. We can modify the database objects. We can drop database objects. So we can create, we can database object, and we can alter, we can modify, we can drop database objects, and we can truncate also. Truncate database object of table type. That's a truncate is only for the table. That's right. So we can maintain the complete database objects. Create, alter, drop, truncate and everything. So the example commands are create, alter. Any command starts with a create. That's for creating. Any command starts with a create is for creating database object. For example, create table. create table. So create view, create sequence, and create index. Say create procedure. We have seen these procedures. Okay, create materialized view. Create materialized view. So these are the some examples of this create command. Alter is for modifying or changing the structure of database object. Is for altering or modifying structure of database object. Altering or modifying structure of database object. So that means alter table. Okay, alter view. We can definition. We have some restrictions. Alter view. So alter sequence. Alter synonym. This one. Okay, similarly drop command. Drop is for dropping. Dropping database object. Database object. Dropping. So that means drop table, drop view, and drop sequence, and drop synonym, and drop index also. We have so many, like whatever we can create with all the drops and everything. Drop index and everything. So the truncate is only for table. Truncate is only for table. We will see that in a next class. Truncate is only for table. Okay, so these are the different types of a commands: create table, alter table, drop table, and truncate, and everything. Okay, so now we are going to see all these database objects. So what are the different types of database object? Database object means we can create in a database. The object means anything we can create in a database is called as an object. I'm not saying the data. Row is not an object. Table is an object. So the types of database objects, whatever I specified above, the types of database objects are whatever we create in a database. For example, table is a one database object, and the second one view is a one database object, and third one index, and a fourth one sequence, and a fifth one synonym, and sixth one materialized view, and the second one DB link, and the eighth one procedures, function, it is. These are all the different types of database object. We can create a table, we can view, we can index, we can sequence, we can synonym, we can materialized view, DB link, and everything. Okay, so if you want to create anything, on the database, okay, so now if you want to create anything in the database, I want to mean the user, the database user. Okay, create a table, he need a create table privilege. If I want to create a view, he need a create view privilege. I want to create an index, I need a create index privilege. I want to create a sequence, I want a create sequence privilege. If I want to create a synonym, I need a create synonym privilege. For anything, if a user want to do a particular operation in a database, he need a certain privileges. If a database user want to do any operation on database, so he need a particular privileges. So who is going to grant those privileges? Okay, so the generally DBA is responsible for granting privileges. Granting and revoking privileges. Okay, so the DBA is responsible for granting and revoking a privileges. Okay, how? So the DBA uses grant and revoke commands for granting and revoking privileges. He will grant. Okay, so for granting and revoking a privileges. Privileges is nothing but a permission. Okay, if you want to come to my home, I want to give a privilege, permission to enter into my home because I am the administrator. Similarly, if you want to do any operation on a database, he need a particular privileges. For example, I want to drop the synonym. I need a drop synonym privilege. I want to create a table. You need a create table privilege. Okay. Everybody is clear? Everybody is clear? So the grant and the revoke privileges. So the grant command. Okay, we need to the grant and the revoke the commands for granting and revoking a privileges. Okay, so now the privileges are of two types. Privileges basically privileges classified into two types. What? Object privileges and system privileges. Object privileges and system privileges. Database privileges or system privileges. Object privileges means access on the object. Access on objects. Access on objects. And this one. The system privileges means the permission for creating an object. Permissions for creating, maintaining the object. Let's see the maintaining objects. Maintaining database object or maintaining or performing operations on database. Okay, it's a permission for maintaining or performing operations on the database. That means creating a table. Okay, database objects and database. For example, I want to create a table. That's a system privilege. I want to drop in a user. That's a system privilege. I want to create permissions. That's a object privilege. So everything. So the object privileges and the database privileges. So the example privileges are. Here is example privileges are create table, create view, so create index. This one. So create table or create any table. Any table. Create table or create any table. Create view or create any view. I'll explain the difference. And create index or create any index. Similarly, we have so many system privileges. And so the object privileges is, for example, select on table, insert on table, update on table, delete on table. These are the object privileges. So that means operations on object. This is operations on database. Object privileges, system privileges, these are the two types. Okay, so what is the create table and create any table? So the create table means, please observe carefully. Create table means I can create table in my own schema. I can create table in my own schema. See here. I have, these are the users. HR is a one user, info domain is one user, Scott is one user, and supplier is one user. That means, so if you want to create in your own schema, then create table is fine. Okay, if you want to create a table in your own schema, create table is fine. If you want to create a table in any schema, create any. So table means in my own schema. If I want to create a table in another user, I want to create a table in Kiran user. So then I need to create any table. Create any table means I can create table in any schema. Create a table means in your own schema. That is the difference between create a table and create any table privilege. Everybody is clear? Everybody is clear with the difference between object privileges and system privileges, and clear with create table and create any table. And then what is the grant? Grant is for granting a privileges. Grant is for granting a privileges. And revoke is for revoking a privilege from users. Let's see a syntax. Grant privilege to user. Username 1, comma username 2, and so on. This is for granting object system privilege. For example, comma privilege 2 and so on. Example, grant create table. Let's see, create any table. Create any table to student. I am granting a create any table to student. Granting create any table to student. That's the one. Okay, so now revoke syntax. From user. So revoke these privileges from the user. Student is the user. I am revoking create any table from student. Simple. So the grant is to create a users, and the revoke is create a privileges and everything. Okay. So now the syntax for object privileges. Grant privilege on object name to user 1, comma user 2, user 1, comma user 2, and so on. So that means grant select on emp to HR. Okay, select on emp to HR. So that means, okay, I'm granting select privilege on emp to HR. What is an emp? It can be anything. It can be a view, or it can be a table, or it can be a index. So that means the object name. Revoke privileges on something. And one thing, remember this, in grant and revoke are not developer's responsibility. revoke select on EMP from HR. Because developer is not responsible for the grant and revoke. Only senior developers and the DBAs are responsible. But having knowledge on this one is very important, because whenever you try to create a table, whenever you try to create an index, whenever you create any operation, it gives you insufficient privileges. Whenever you see a insufficient privileges, immediately we have to contact DBA for requesting that operation to user. We need to request the user to grant that operation. Grant select on EMP to HR, the revoke select on EMP from HR. Everybody is clear? Please let me know. Everybody is clear with this one? Yes or no, please? Everyone. Shravani, Kiran, Mahesh. Yes, sir. Grant and revoke. So this is the small thing about the grant and revoke. So starting from tomorrow, we are going to see all these tables and everything. So let's start with the first table, and then table, alter, drop, and everything. So one thing I want everybody to read is the data types. I want everybody to read all the data types and then constraints. Please read these two topics thoroughly. Please read these two topics thoroughly before tomorrow's class. Okay? Yes or no, please? So see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Please practice the SQL loader. That's a very important thing. Okay, please practice the SQL loader. Okay, if you have any issues, you can ping me. After finishing the class, I'll send that demo file to everyone. Okay? See you tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Anybody have any doubts, please?